What started as a groundbreaking moment for Katy Perry quickly turned into one of the most divisive celebrity backlashes in recent memory. A trip to the edge of space, something most of us would dream about, became the launchpad for a wave of outrage, confusion, and PR disaster. But here's the real kicker. The fallout didn't just hit Katy. It rippled through Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos, and nearly everyone involved in the flight. Now, months later, the dust still hasn't settled. Why? Because Katy didn't just go to space. She brought the entire internet with her, and they didn't like what they saw. Katy Perry called herself an astronaut. Let that sink in. After spending roughly 90 seconds in weightlessness aboard Blue Origin's suborbital flight, Perry compared her experience to that of professional astronauts, people who train for years, live in zero gravity for months, and face real, life-threatening risks every single day. For the internet, it was an instant meme. The phrase "Katy Armstrong" trended for days. SpaceX engineers joked about it in interviews. Even retired NASA professionals weighed in, some with sarcasm, others with disappointment. To critics, it wasn't just tone-deaf. It was delusional. They weren't mocking the flight itself. They were reacting to how Perry framed herself as part of a legacy she had no real claim to. And that misstep cracked open the dam. When the backlash hit full force, Katy did what most celebrities do. She tried to apologize. But the way she did it only made things worse. In a statement that felt more like a diary entry than a public apology, she said, "I'm sorry. I'm just so sorry to my world." But the message quickly spiraled into something entirely different. She framed the criticism she received as misogyny, as sexism, as the world being offended by her emotions. It was an apology layered with conditions, metaphors, and contradictions. And the part that really lit the fire? Her "sorry not sorry" remark. She openly admitted that part of her didn't feel bad at all, because in her eyes, what she did was historic, feminist, revolutionary. But for fans, it felt like deflection, like she was gaslighting the entire internet. The backlash doubled overnight. What happens when the public loses faith in a pop icon? Ticket sales start to plummet. Katy's Lifetime's tour, meant to be a career-defining moment, quickly became a metric for fan outrage. Several U.S. markets reported declining numbers. Entire sections of arena seating were quietly closed off. The buzz was gone. And worse, longtime fans, those who had stuck by her since teenage dream, were now the loudest voices online, calling her out, saying she'd become unrecognizable, out of touch, obsessed with herself instead of the music. Social media exploded with viral jokes about her space awakening. Memes of her floating in a spacesuit, detached from reality, flooded TikTok and Twitter. A moment that was supposed to be empowering became a punchline. But instead of dialing things down, Katy leaned in, hard. She announced that her spaceflight experience would now be the centerpiece of her tour. Costumes, space-themed, choreography, inspired by zero gravity, visuals, Blue Origin capsules floating in cosmic backdrops. To her, it was an artistic evolution. To critics, it was a tone-deaf gimmick, one that tried to turn real-world outrage into stage theatrics. And here's where it gets weird. She later admitted the flight was partially planned to help her find creative inspiration again. A career move, a reset. So was it ever about women in space? Or was it just a $1 million PR stunt disguised as female empowerment? The lines got blurry, and the backlash got sharper. If Katy's apology felt familiar, it's because we've seen it before. Meghan Markle, Rachel Zegler, even Demi Lovato at one point. It's the same cycle. Make a public statement, frame the backlash as societal injustice, then vaguely apologize without really taking accountability. The internet has a name for it now, the celebrity victim pivot trademark. And Katy's version of it hit all the marks. Tears, abstract metaphors, blaming the system, citing the oppression of women as the reason for her criticism, even though some of her harshest critics were women. The result? A public more divided than ever. Some praised her bravery. Others saw straight through the PR smokescreen. But one thing everyone agreed on: this wasn't the same Katy they once adored. In what might be one of the strangest public statements of the year, Katy claimed the world simply didn't understand what she had gone through in space. She described seeing Earth from above as a soul-shifting experience. She talked about universal energy, feminine awakening, and how her emotional reaction was tied to a divine connection with the cosmos. She even said criticism of her behavior proved how broken our world is toward women. By that point, even sympathetic fans were confused. Was this spiritual awakening, or a meltdown masked as meaning? The more she tried to explain herself, the more disconnected she sounded. It wasn't just that people disagreed with her. It was that they no longer related to her at all. Let's be clear. Katy Perry didn't go to space. Not really. Blue Origin's flight didn't break orbit. It didn't dock with the ISS. It barely gave her 2 minutes of weightlessness. It was a glorified amusement ride, albeit one that cost millions of dollars and came with a shiny media package. Comparing that to astronauts who spent months in microgravity, risk their lives on every mission, and train harder than Olympic athletes, that's where the real offense lies. Not in the flight, but in the distortion of it. When she claimed she faced the same risks as professional astronauts, it was more than inaccurate. It was disrespectful. And that's what made this whole saga spiral out of control. Now, here's the million-dollar question. Is Katy Perry crashing and burning in real time? Or is this part of some bizarre rebirth strategy? One where controversy fuels clicks, clicks fuel streams, and streams fuel survival? Because in the chaos of all this backlash, she's still in headlines, still trending, still part of the conversation. Some believe she's crafting a new image, part visionary, part martyr, part misunderstood genius. Others think she's spiraling so far out of touch that her brand may never recover. Either way, she's not coming back the same. Thank you for watching Celeb Wire. Let us know what you think about Katy Perry's backlash down below. Until next time, remember to keep your eyes on the stars.